Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time that it is that you're listening to this.
Oh
Um,
wow,
Shut up.
that was
I'm trying to
generic.
do a good intro.
Okay, all right.
I hope you're feeling good, whatever time it is.
Yeah, man.
I'm feeling good. Are you feeling good, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm pretty good this evening actually. Yeah, yeah, things are good. Things are
So
good.
let's just get straight in. Basically, if you haven't listened to the last episode, I'll just give you a quick rundown about what this episode's going to look like.
Yeah.
Last time. Well, actually, no. Let's start. We decided that we wanted to have kind of like little interviews with each of us, right? So we have kind of like profiles of us, or kind of like sort of little rundowns and descriptions of who we are and what we're thinking and all that kind of thing.
Mm.
Because ultimately, we're making this for us in the future, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we wanted to have those kind of like detailed sort of interviews and talks about what our opinions are and how we see our careers and stuff like that.
And
So
just how it differs, I guess, over
um
time, isn't it?
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So last time Patrick interviewed me
Mhm.
for an hour, which was good.
That was
um
good though. It was good. It
it
was
was
good.
good, yeah. It was a good episode.
If you
We had
haven't
some good
listened to it
feedback from that.
already, go
Yeah,
check it
so
out.
and this time this is the second and final part of well, I'm not going to call it a series because it's not really a series, but
No, it's just yeah.
this is the second of two. Um, and I'm going to be interviewing Patrick.
Mm.
So I've got a list of a few questions. Um, and yeah, hopefully it should spark up some good conversation.
Just for timestamp's sake, it's the 13th of September 2018 at
It is
9:45. And we're about to
9:45
begin. So
p.m.
PM, yes.
p.m.
2100 hours. Okay.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Okay, right. Yeah. No, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm in a
Okay,
good mood
so
today. So let's do it. Yeah.
yeah, me too. Right, let's go. Okay, so
Yeah.
the first question, I'm actually going to start with the same question that you asked me,
Okay.
just because it's good. I think
Okay.
it's an interesting one. Um, so the question is, if you could describe yourself as a crayon color,
Okay.
which color would you be and why?
Okay. Okay. So if I were to have like a box of crayons in front of me,
Yeah,
I would pick up blue instantly. And it's
right.
not even
Okay.
that blue is my favorite color.
Hmm.
I just know that blue is just useful for everything
Yeah, you
because
pretty much
because
use
because
blue in everything.
because blue is one of those colors. It's the primary color, right? It's one of the primary colors, and so
It is, yeah.
not only is it sort of bold and it stands out against the white paper, but like you can have a blue car or blue whatever, and
It's pretty
I just
universal.
find yeah, it's very universal, very universal, and I'd like to think that I don't know, I'm quite universal in the sense that like in the sense that I like doing everything. I like
Yeah,
doing
okay, that
everything.
makes
I
sense.
enjoy. I will do something if it makes me happy. Do you
You
know what
can
I mean?
apply yourself to a lot of different situations.
Precisely, precisely, precisely.
I like that. That's actually a lot more structured and thought out than my answer.
Maroon because you can use it for a good car.
Oh man. Okay, blue. Any particular shade of blue
Okay,
or
so
just
yeah, no, that's a good point actually, because you can obviously have like
yeah, there's
turquoisey, sort
so
of light
many
blue, but
different
then
shades of
have it
blue.
kind of navy. Um, hmm, I would say more towards the navy side. Um,
Okay, yeah.
because I feel like if it's too light, then the only thing it can be really used for is the sky.
Right.
Um,
So
but
you like the idea of it being a pretty universal sort of
yeah,
you can use
because
it
you
for a
could
lot of
still,
different
because even if
purposes.
it's slightly darker, you can sort of still use it as a sky if you use it lightly.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, okay, that makes
but
sense.
then, but then I don't know, it just feels easier and feels
It's a pretty solid color as
yeah,
well, isn't it? Dark
it's
blue.
just a solid color. It's very very universal.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to take that. That's a great answer.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's better than mine. This is already off to a better start than the previous episode. My second question, I think we're going to get into sort of like the future and
Okay.
career stuff. But before we get into that, um, you, I'm just going to say that you are into musical theatre and
Yes.
acting and singing and the theatre arts,
Mhm.
which we will discover as the episode continues. Um, but just give us a quick rundown on like how that all started for you, where it came from, when you kind of started getting into theatre, into acting, into singing, just like where it all started.
Okay, so all of theatre and stuff is actually fairly new to me. A lot of people don't really believe me when I say that, but it is fairly new to me. It's something that's grown on
Sure.
me very, very quickly and in a
Yeah.
small space of time, which for some people go a bit, oh, okay, this guy isn't serious. This is a phase. This is a
He's not
hobby.
legit. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Which
yeah.
I know it's not, and I don't really care what people think because I know it's not. But
It's good.
so in terms of where it started, when I grew up, we've always had a kind of a music gene, as people say, in our family.
Sure.
So especially on my mum's side, my mum's like the entire side of my mum's family has played instruments of some sort, mainly primarily piano. And
Yeah.
my older brother and sister, Tom and Molly, they both learned piano when they were about our age. Well, Tom continued and went on to do grade 7 and 8, but Molly stopped at grade 5, I think. Anyway,
Cool.
so they've always sort of been doing that kind of thing, and me being the youngest, I kind of wanted to do something different from them. I wanted to kind of be different, so I went and picked up the saxophone, and it wasn't something that I kind of was passionate about, but it was something that my mum was kind of wanted me to get into, and I took it and I enjoyed playing it, but more importantly, I enjoyed the performing aspect of it. I would only practice if I knew I was going to perform it to someone, whether
Yeah.
that was to grandparents or family, or or like the most exciting part, like school concerts and stuff like that. That was always really,
Hmm.
really exciting. Just knowing that I was gonna like, knowing that I was going to entertain people was something that was very exciting to me from a
Of
very,
course.
very young age. And so I used to do that a lot. And when I started dance, that was a big aspect as to why I started it, because I used to really enjoy watching people dance. And I was like, well, I want to make the same feeling that I'm feeling now on more
Yeah.
people, so I'm going to go and do that. Um, and so that's kind of how it started. I originally, so I originally ended up picking up an instrument, but then that ended up developing into, I started sort of seeing my hobby as just performing music or performing a dance, but actually they were kind of all one together,
Yeah.
instead of seeing them as two different things. That I enjoyed the same characteristics of both. And so I then sort of was, I liked watching TV, I liked watching people act and stuff, and I didn't really think much of it. And being quite dyslexic, it was kind of awkward when it came to GCSE choices.
Yeah.
And so I ended up taking drama, and it wasn't because I wanted to. I don't know. I didn't take it because people think of drama GCSE as one of those kind of
Fillers.
yeah, correct, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So but I didn't take it as one of that. But then I didn't take it because I was passionate about drama. I was just more interested in. I just kind of had a bit of a fascination for it, and I've always had
Yeah,
a
okay.
fascination for people and kind of and the way people present themselves, and especially actors. And I really admire actors that, obviously standing in like sitting here now, I really admire actors that really think through it and think through mannerisms and think through thought process and stuff, and you're
Sure.
really clearly able to see it when someone's done it properly. And so I was kind of fascinated by that, watching TV and whatever. I just kind of came obsessed with it. And so when I started
Mm.
it, I didn't think too much of it, but I was just more experimenting with the idea. And my teacher, Mr. Hart, Roger Hart, about second week in, was like, "You're going to be the main part in our school musical. I don't have a guy that I trust in the year above you, so I'm
Mm.
gonna I'm gonna just give it to you."
Nice.
And
Wow.
it wasn't, and like, yeah, it was the first time where I was like, I really want to do a good job of this. I genuinely was really like really excited about it, and really kind of wanted to make people enjoy it. Because
Sure.
when people come to school school stuff, they have an expectation inside their head and they kind of know what it's going to be like. And I just wanted to shatter that. And
Okay,
I
yeah.
probably didn't, but the intention was behind
Yeah,
it.
but the fact that you had that ambition is really interesting.
Right, exactly. And so I just remember it was my focus for year 10. It was the thing that I was so
Yeah.
excited about. And me and the female lead, Lauren, who is in the year above, who's currently at the Brighton Academy,
Oh,
she she was brilliant at just sort of being a kind of mentor to me at that age.
yeah.
And it was really awkward because it was tough sort of being this main part in the musical and learning to sing technically. I always had a sense of pitch, but I hadn't sung technically until I was 14, 15. And so kind of it ended up sort of forming into all of my sort of practice sort of ended up forming into this show, which I don't really know how good it was or whatever, but I mean, it received positive feedback, but I
And
mean,
that was We Will Rock You, right?
no, that was Crazy for You. No,
Oh, that was Crazy for
it was
You.
Crazy for You. Yeah, and
Oh,
so
awesome.
that was that was so that was sort of like my first musical.
Right. Okay.
But it wasn't
Nice.
foreign to me. The performing aspect wasn't foreign to me.
Yeah.
I knew how to perform, and I played saxophone in the show actually. But
Sorry.
but that yeah. So I remember just finishing it and just going, well, I just want to do it again. I want to
Yeah.
be faced with a challenge again, and I want to feel like I can't do it, and then do it again.
That's
And
really, really
so it
healthy.
was
Yeah.
it was the most satisfying thing I felt. And obviously, like when you're 14 and 15, you don't have a lot of motivation for anything.
No,
It's just one of those stages, and I don't know. This was kind of I hate to say breakthrough because I don't think that's true, but if I were to
No, in some
describe it
ways
like that,
yeah.
that's sort of what it felt like. And so
It's kind of like the clicking point where you just suddenly thought, wait, well,
yeah,
where you gained some form of sort of motivation and ambition for something, or discovered, because I was the same. I did the same sort of thing
yeah, yeah,
around sort
yeah.
of 13, 14, where suddenly playing
Suddenly you're
Xbox
just
for
like,
4 hours every night wasn't the most important thing
yeah,
ever.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't know. And so yeah, I continued. I continued to learn to sing because I wanted to do the musical again the following year,
Yeah.
which I did, which was We Will Rock You. Um,
Yes, of course.
and that time I really worked on characterization. In Crazy for You, it wasn't as important because it was just stereotypical guy lead kind of
Yeah.
thing, and I was able to just look at people performing it. And so when it came to We Will Rock You, I tried to look less at the other people's characterizations and tried to make my own, which worked out really well. That was really healthy for me, and I learned a lot. I pretty much learned. I mean, I feel like I learned everything about how I act from doing We Will Rock You because it was the first time I'd sat down, researched everything, gone, I like this, I'm going to try this. And I remember
Yeah.
just going to each drama lesson and kind of just having this notebook just full of notes going, right, I'm going to try this. Does this feel right? If it doesn't, then I just cross it off. And I just, I don't know, I really enjoyed doing that. And
Yeah.
at that time, my voice was really high, and so that was really nice to kind of show that off.
Of course.
And I've still got a very high range now for a 17-year-old boy.
Higher than me.
But but yeah, that was yeah. So We Will Rock You was kind of a development, I would say,
Yeah,
where I
okay.
learnt a lot of kind of foundation sort of acting kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
before We Will Rock You, I had about 2 singing lessons. So singing
Yeah.
singing something that's developed very recently since joining college.
Sure.
Um, but yes, yeah.
Well,
So that's
great.
essentially how it started. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Mm.
You mentioned before that you really, really admired sort of actors who obviously spent a lot of time on sort of like characterization and being really, really specific and quite picky about how they work.
Right.
So, could you like who are the actors or musicians, performers or whatever who you kind of idolize or look up to the most?
Okay, so
Yeah, it's a hard one.
I'd say this is very very stereotypical, but Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
not. He's not. It's not for me. You know, people acting is like a very broad. There's very
Mm.
different levels to acting, and there's very different levels professionally.
Yeah,
So you could, because a lot of people can think about their character long and hard, but maybe not think about the things that are important, and
sure.
that comes down to what people value and what people see as humans, what people notice as.
Yeah, okay.
You know, when I look at someone, what do I notice? Do I look at their face, or do I notice their hands more, or their lips, or the
Right,
way that
okay,
they move
yeah.
their ears, or something? They're kind of little obsessions that people probably don't realize that they look at, but they do. And people that I admire, actors that kind of take all of these things into account and create a kind of character that has all of these mannerisms and has all of these little things that
Yeah,
actually create a human. Do you see
to
what
the
I
point
mean?
where you hardly recognize the actor.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
people like very famous people do it very well, and that's why they're famous. So
yeah.
people like Tom Hanks and Benedict Cumberbatch. Like whenever I've seen a Tom Hanks film, I don't look at Tom Hanks
It's
and
not Tom
go.
Hanks.
I
Yeah,
don't look at Tom Hanks and go. I see. You know, I see someone else in this. You know,
right. Yeah,
I
yeah,
see
yeah.
someone completely new. I don't see Woody from Toy Story. I don't see kind of
Sure. Yeah,
any of the other characters that he's played. I see the character that he's created, and I can tell that he just works very very hard to to make the performance of the story that he's clearly passionate about
definitely.
as good as he can be, and that's something that he
Yeah,
values, and that's something that I value, and I think that that's something that's for me is really important, and that I will continue to carry. See, like whenever I try and do acting work, even though you know it's fairly flexible in musical theatre actually, but if I was to do straight acting work, then that's something that I would really focus on, especially as myself. I'm really picky on people's mannerisms and stuff. I'm
yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
picky, but I just notice them, and
You do.
I
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
noticing how they change when they're around different people, or when they're around adults or
Yeah,
whatever. And
that's something that really does fascinate me about you is
yeah,
that
yeah,
you can almost but you can replicate them and mimic them as well, right?
yeah,
You can basically
yeah.
do like pretty much five-star quality impressions of people without even speaking. You just sort of like phase into them just
Yeah, I
by
don't know.
moving your hand in a specific way, or yeah, no,
It's
it's
you know
crazy.
it's just well
Brilliant
you
though.
know when someone tells you something and then tell you something about someone, and then you just can't help but notice that, like you can't help but
Yes.
notice
Yeah,
it
yeah,
every
yeah, yeah,
time you
yeah.
see them. So like we had a teacher at school that used to just wink like during every section, like it was like every sentence, and he kind of it was sort of a twitch, I guess. Um, but I
Yeah,
remember someone telling me about it because I wasn't taught by him, so otherwise I probably would have noticed.
yeah.
But I remember just seeing him in the corridor or whatever, and just suddenly he was winking all the time, and I don't know. It's that kind of thing that it's that kind of thing that I end up noticing in people. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that. Um, so kind of going on from the people that inspire you,
Mhm.
right? This is a link. I'm going to try and segue this in.
Okay, okay.
You mentioned earlier about your two older siblings,
Mhm.
obviously, Tom and Molly.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool if you told us a little bit about them and
Okay.
also like how the kind of the okay, because obviously your family dynamic is similar but very different to mine.
Yes.
And what are your thoughts on how having first of all having two siblings that are quite significantly older than you, but also the fact that they're kind of like not in the house or you don't see them very often.
Mm.
How does that change sort of family dynamic? How does that I don't know about the maybe not influence, but like how does that change your
Yeah,
outlook.
kind of just yeah, like what I think about it, right? Kind
Yeah,
of, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a sister called Molly who's currently at university studying medicine, which is why she's spending about 8 years there. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she is 23 currently.
Yeah.
Yeah, 23. And sorry, no, she's 22, about to turn 23.
Okay.
Um, and Tom, who is currently teaching in sort of a quite rough area called Huntingdon, which is north of Cambridge. He's a full-time English teacher.
Yes.
They are the best and worst thing ever. I say that because they're the best siblings that I could ever ask for ever.
Yeah.
Because I mean Molly is the most ridiculous but kindest human being, sassiest human being on the planet.
Yeah.
And Tom is just my big best friend, and so it's difficult because it's weird describing your siblings. It's very
Yeah.
weird.
I know it is. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
in terms of kind of me and how
Yeah.
they've impacted me, it's always been quite interesting, sort of going through life and seeing, something happen twice over before before I do it,
Sure.
and I've always done it differently, and
Yeah.
I've never really known what they think about that. And I used to think that they gave a shit, but now I don't think that they do. And
No.
and especially kind of, I'd say I don't know which one I'm trying to think about. I'm trying to sort of bring on to sort of them individually, but
Yeah.
I think I have different relationships with them both
Oh yeah. Of course.
because
Yeah.
Molly's very affectionate, and I mean, well, so is Tom, but obviously differently. But Molly's very kind of like affectionate and will come and sort of like will come home and sort of spend time at home when she has a free like 3 day weekend or something, because she's
Sure.
down in Exeter, which is about a 4 hour drive, but she still comes up every now and again. So
Yeah.
I more or less see Molly more, plus Molly's more close with my parents, well, our parents. um
Mhm.
she's probably the closest with my parents out of me and my brother, but that's often the case, isn't it, with sons and daughters.
Yeah.
um
I reckon. Yeah.
but Tom, me and Tom have a very it is a proper brother relationship, as in we don't have to tell each other that we love each other because it's already true, and it'd just be cringe to say it to each other. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Tom's very, it's different because Tom won't if we bring it onto sort of like what I do and stuff.
Yeah.
Tom will actively, message me something if he sees something on the stage, or he kind of hears about something, or for Christmas, like he would buy me tickets to something. He does that kind of thing, which is really sort of is really nice, and I'm very lucky to have siblings that really sort of support me, and I didn't really think it would be that way,
Yeah.
especially as sort of, we don't really know what our parents think about us doing what we do. We never really will. I don't think I'll ever know about how my parents feel
Yeah.
about
Yeah. Yeah.
me
That's
doing
complete.
something. And so it's very nice to see when your siblings don't have to kind of, your siblings are very openly kind of, yeah, I want you to do this. Like, I think you
Yeah.
should do it. Like, why not? And seeing sort of Tom at the other end, and seeing Tom going, I'm in full time working, but dude, you should do it. Like,
Yeah.
and
That's
seeing
really
him
really
making a
valuable.
full time salary and
Yeah.
living at home and sort of building relationships and doing stuff away from home and still going, you should do it,
You need to chase this. Yeah,
was
exactly.
really, really important. Motivation wise, I guess.
Yeah.
Molly does do the same. Molly's very kind of supportive, but she really likes coming to see things that I do.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tom would as well, but obviously, I mean, it's much harder for him, especially as he lives in Cambridge and can't come down for a Friday night. Do you know what I mean? It's just not possible.
Full-time work.
And it's
yeah,
not
no,
a
exactly.
problem because it's just one of the things, isn't it? Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
definitely.
I don't know. Molly quite likes coming to see stuff and kind of just sort of
Yeah.
like lolling about it and like but she actively creates an interest,
course.
which I like, and again is another kind of reason that I'm really into it. So
Yeah.
our family dynamic between me and my siblings is very, very good and very close, and I'm very lucky because I know a lot of people that don't get on well with their siblings, and that
Definitely.
just simply isn't true with us. Despite there
Yeah.
obviously being a massive age gap, it's just not true. And I think if anything, it's been really healthy to have the age gap for me to just be able to sort of see my brother and sister kind of do things, and then for me to kind of follow up and kind of
Sure, but do it kind of in your own way as well.
yeah, because I don't know for sure, but I know that if I was the top child, I would have really wanted to do well to set an example to.
Yeah,
Do
definitely.
you know what I mean? I'm sure
So,
Tom
yeah.
must have felt a kind of pressure, not
Like some kind of
not pressure,
responsibility.
but like some kind of
Yeah, just
responsibility to kind of do well. And by all means, he's done it brilliantly. He's head of English at 25. Like,
yeah.
he's done brilliant. But I don't know. I find that very fascinating how he's just kind of,
Yeah.
he's at the other end, but still going, dude, you should just do it. And
Yeah, sure.
that's really nice to hear because, I don't know. You don't hear that often. You don't hear that often. I feel like,
No.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Well, it matters, but it wouldn't
Yeah.
affect me from doing anything differently. Just it's for peace of mind's sake. It's very nice to hear.
Definitely.
But yeah. So the family dynamic is very strong, and they're very supportive of me.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, we are both very lucky
Yes, definitely.
to have that.
Very lucky. Yeah.
Gosh. So they are then what? So if Molly's 22, then she's 5 years older than you? Yeah.
Yes, and then
So
Tom's 8.
okay. So what are your plans for the next 5 years? Segue.
Drop that shit. Okay, so
what are your plans?
okay,
do you wanna
so
go?
my
What do you wanna
plan
do?
currently, the current plan, is to apply for drama school
Of course.
for the next 2 to 3 years, depending
Yeah.
on what I either get offered or sort of how well it goes and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to not perform.
Right.
I will find a way of doing it, and I will. And anyone who says I can't can fuck off, because I'm going to do it. But I think drama school will be very beneficial for me, especially as I started late. Well, it's not started late, but I started later than the majority of people in my class. Though I still
Right,
don't
so-
feel like I have a lower ability. I feel like I am slightly less experienced, let's say, and
Yeah.
but
Fair enough.
I know what I want. And so
Yeah.
if that means for me to take another year out, train with Vicky, who's our singing teacher, train with Anita, my current acting teacher, and sort of continue to have dance lessons, working on those for 4 days a week, working for 3 days a week, then I will do it. I'm not
Sure.
I'm not afraid to take a year out and sort my shit out, because
So,
I think that's healthy anyway. But equally, obviously, if I get in this year, then fantastic.
Yeah. So
And I'm aiming to, yeah. But
one
yeah.
of my questions was kind of I was going to ask you, but you've just sort of answered it there. I was going to ask you because obviously you are applying for conservatoires, right?
Yes, correct.
And
Yeah,
I was going to ask that if you, for whatever reason, didn't make it into the sort of 2019 entry this year, would you consider going to anywhere? I'm not going to say lesser because I don't like the idea that they're lesser, but like I was going to say, would you go to a university to study that kind of, or would you take a year out, get on the grind, and then go again next year?
I think
But you've kind of answered it there, I
yeah.
guess.
So I mean, I would like to get higher education.
Yeah,
Probably, yeah, regardless of what that takes, but how long that takes. But yeah, so I'm going to be trying for I'm going to be going for conservatoires, I should say,
yeah,
for at least the next 2 years at least. And it
yeah.
kind
I like
of
that.
and whether I don't know whether I get in or not. I'm going to be doing something. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things where I've got to get some money, and I know
Of
that
course.
if I get in this year, then brilliant. If I really struggle and I don't get in for 2 3 years maybe, um,
Hmm.
then I would take maybe a university place at somewhere like Bath, and then maybe
Yep.
seek a postgraduate course or something like that. But I'm not
Yeah,
afraid
yeah,
to do
yeah.
it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not afraid to get shot down about it. I'm not gonna go and sit and cry about it because that's not gonna get me anywhere. So I'm kind of very happy to go. Yo, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna give it 100% this year. Um, and I'm not I'm not scared of taking another year out. I feel like if people don't get in this year, they're gonna see themselves as something that they're not. It's just they didn't get in, or it's just that I don't get in. It doesn't mean that I'm not good enough. I
Yeah,
just happen to not get in. Um,
sure. It's
which
not your
I'm
year. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like I don't take stuff like that very personally. I'm very lucky to have quite thick skin like that. If I don't get something that I want, I will go, okay, let me try again and get it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm gonna do, and so we'll see. We shall see, and yeah, yeah. So I'm just
Yeah,
yeah.
nice.
That's the aim. That's the future. That's the next step.
Brilliant. Where are you? Oh, well, how many places are you auditioning for?
Okay, so yeah, this is interesting. So some conservatoires have funding and some don't.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to be applying for a kind of mix.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
lucky in the fact that my family's in a financial position where it wouldn't be I mean, it wouldn't be great, but
But it wouldn't be too much of an
it's
issue
not
to,
impossible.
right?
Like it's not impossible.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
The thing is, places like ArtsEd and stuff require complete funding, so you can't actually apply for funding from the government to go to a place like ArtsEd, which is an outstanding school. Um,
Yeah,
but you know, if I did get in, and if it was the only place I got in this year, then holy shit, I would take it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would then work my fucking ass off to get in contact with charities, and still work probably 5 days a week until September.
To just get a
Um,
really nice pot of money to
just
be
get a
able to
nice
kind of
pot of
cushion
money
you
to
through.
kind of
Yeah,
just contribute to it, and then I would by all means, like throughout my working life, just pay my parents back. I think that's very important. I feel very indebted to my parents for them, because when we were looking at courses and stuff, they were like, you see a place. Me and Mum would have had hours of conversations about schools, but we
yeah, yeah,
kind
yeah,
of just looked to places like ArtsEd and Mountview. Mountview just the same, a brilliant
yeah.
school, but yeah, it doesn't require or it doesn't allow you to get go.
Privately funded. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and so they've kind of been very great in saying, we can do this, but I hope you're aware of what we're doing, and
Sure.
I'm gonna be very sensible about that um,
Of course.
if I go to one of those privately funded places. The advantage with going to one of those though is that less people apply, um,
This is true. Yeah,
which
yeah, yeah.
is annoying because I don't it reflects the sort of industry quite differently. But then equally, my parents have worked very very hard to be in a position that they are to give me and my brother and sister the best opportunity that we can, and so I'm not going to take
Yes.
that for granted. And
No, yeah, that's good.
I think if I can, then I will. Um,
Yeah.
but then there's schools like GSA, which is another great school, and Central and Guildhall are all funded from the government. So if I got into Central or Guildhall, then I would take it in a
Yeah.
heartbeat.
Brilliant. Yeah, yeah, okay.
Because arguably they're better than ArtsEd. Um,
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm surprised by that actually. I didn't know. I thought that Central was a private one.
no, Central's not. No, it's on UCAS. Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
really?
it is. Yeah, but it's transferred over though.
Oh, sure.
It was private, I think. But the problem
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
now, there was a phase where they were all private, like literally
Yes.
all of them private, and so you had an arts industry just full of kind of middle class people, and
I was gonna
they
say,
wanted
yeah.
to change that, which is fair enough, and so they kind of just so places like GSA opened up where they moved Guildford School of Acting onto the Surrey campus, and so that's kind of
Right.
how that's adjusted, and then Central is I think funded by like an open university or something,
Right.
something
Okay.
like that. Um, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
I feel like have I gone off track there, or have I just?
No, I don't think you have at
What
all
was the
because that's
question?
well, it was just talking about like what are your what are your plans?
Oh, I see. Okay,
I mean, I
okay.
kind of tried to link it to Molly and saying where would you be in 5 years, but yeah, no, that's exactly what I was trying to get out of you is the plan because I think that you have some really interesting opinions about it, and I think that I don't want to start just slagging off everyone in MT, but like I think that you are probably in a it's unfair to say minority, but I think that you are in um a smaller group of people that are actually thinking about it very intelligently and sensibly and
Yeah, yeah.
realistically as well. You're
Yes,
thinking about
yes,
it
yes,
realistically,
yes.
and you're kind of I think that it's almost rare, especially in sort of our sort of group of acquaintances and friends and things, to for you to say, you know, to be so accepting of the fact that you know you are going to have to work your fucking ass off, right?
Yes, yes.
And if you don't get in, tough shit, but you do it next year. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly, exactly.
And I really respect that in you,
Well, I
definitely.
think one of the reasons I've adopted that is not is I don't know. It just I did a summer school right after crazier than you, crazy for you.
Crazier than you.
Shut the fuck up. But after Crazy for You, I did a summer school which Lauren had recommended to me, the female lead,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
I remember going there and speaking with industry professionals and whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember being there and kind of a lot of people were sort of talking about, I don't know, drama school was quite something that people talked about there, which I hadn't obviously come across before.
No.
And I just remember meeting sort of. I remember I met this guy, and it's so clear. He's the guy who's in the Miss Saigon film. He plays Chris in the Miss Saigon film.
Oh yeah.
And we did a workshop with him, which was, I mean, the opportunities that came with this school were outstanding.
Of course.
I met this guy, and he went to I think it was Arts Ed actually. I think it was Arts Ed, but the thing is, he was very like me, as in, you know, people imagine obviously musical theatre people to be like, hi, you know, my name's, you know,
Yeah.
very kind
Quite
of, you know, like
flamboyant.
stereotypically
I
feminine
get
kind
yeah,
of, and he was very like
definitely.
me in the sense that he had kind of like the same kind of attitude as me, and kind of he was, you know, he started musical theatre, you know, about 14 or 15 or whatever, because, you know,
Yeah,
it's not
damn.
something people expect guys, you know, guys to get into necessarily.
Yeah.
Um, and he just was very he was just a really intelligent guy and was honest, and he was honest because he wanted to help us, and he wasn't going, guys, this is a really tough industry, because he wanted to put us off it. He was just being honest,
Yeah.
and he was kind of just going, look, if you can't handle this, then you're not gonna get anywhere.
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me, and I've you know, we keep hearing that people keep coming in, and some people in MT or whatever can, you know, go, oh well, I'm, you know, it's not, you know, it's not for me now, you know, like it's not going to happen, you know, I'm not
Yeah.
like that, and it's like, well, actually you can be like that, you're just choosing not to.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when I meet with these people, they are literally the gold standard of research for you. They
Of
are in
course.
the industry. You can ask them anything,
Yeah.
and you know they will be honest with you. And this
Yes.
guy was honest with me, and I just went, well, you know, I enjoy this so much that it's worth it. And
Yeah.
so, fuck this, I'm going for it. I know what it's like now. I know what he's saying, and I'm sure he wasn't lying to me. And so
Yeah.
if I approach it with this attitude, then, I've got the best chance of things working out. So
Hmm.
that's my that's my attitude, bitch.
Yeah. So you would okay, so scenario,
Okay.
you don't get in this year.
Mhm.
If that happens,
Mhm.
what is it, do you think, that you want to work on the most? What is a skill that you either have and want to improve, or a skill that you wish you had, or something that you think about yourself that you think, not necessarily like a weakness, but like something that you want to work to to better in yourself?
Yeah. Okay. So I know for a fact I'm not satisfied with my ability currently. Um,
Right.
I'm not bad, but
No.
I'm not going to pretend like I'm the greatest performer ever, because I'm not.
I
Um,
think that's very, very, very
but
healthy.
but
Yeah.
I hope that I keep that, because
Yeah.
I
Oh,
now
definitely.
because I know now that whenever I go to a dance class or whatever, I'm hungry, and so I want to keep that. And so whenever I go to a ballet class or whatever, I'm just going, right, what am I doing wrong here? And when she tells me and corrects it, I like kind of that kind of, I've got to make myself better. And
Sure. The fit.
that
Yeah.
sounds like I'm really beating myself up. I'm not. I'm just kind of
No, it's not at all.
um,
Not at all. I think that once you've lost that sense of how you want to improve, or like the hunger to improve, once you lose
yeah.
that, I mean, that's the fuel, surely, that keeps you
Yeah,
being a
exactly.
creative
And so
person.
if I don't get in this year, I know for a fact that something like my ballet would be improved. I mean, ballet's like piano; it's a very slow burner.
Of
And
course,
when you
yeah,
go to drama school, they're not expecting you to be, especially guys, they're not expecting you to be outstanding at anything, because that's not the point. They're looking for people to train. Um,
people, yeah, potential for teaching,
yeah,
of course.
and so I think if I don't, I'll definitely work on the ballet. I want to go in. I mean, I'm going to go in knowing that I'm going to give it everything, and that's all that I can give currently. But
Yeah,
if I don't get in, then I know that next time I want to be going in going, I'm a much better version of myself than I was last year.
yeah,
I want to go in with the confidence that I've made an improvement from the previous year.
yeah.
Um, so dance, yeah, definitely. But then I'm
Mm.
coughing on. So,
It's all right.
oh god, I've just
Need some water, mate.
yeah, might have to get some water in a second. Oh, I've got fucking water. I brought in a glass of. Oh, anyway, well, it's kind of gone now anyway. Um, but I would like to obviously improve everything
Yeah,
slowly. But my acting has been the most progress in the past year.
sure.
I don't talk about it much, but these lessons that I have with Anita are really in depth, really impacting, really thought provoking, and
Mm. Yeah, I'm
we
really
e-
glad that you've kind of
we
found a.
yeah, and we email a lot, and we just talk about stuff, and kind of I've got sort of these monologues, and we've planned them out fully about the memories that I'll remember and things that I'll focus on when I say this, and
Yeah,
how the you know how it all sort of sticks together. And so I will obviously continue working at that, and Anita kind of wants me to go on to do straight acting. Um,
yeah,
but I know that if I went into straight acting, I wouldn't give it as much as I would if I did musical theatre. I know that that's a fact.
of
So I
course.
can't I can't lie to myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of think that it's also probably easier to go from training specifically in musical theatre to then going to straight acting than it is if you were to go straight acting and then try and get into musical theatre, just because they're
Yeah,
so like particular about where you've trained and who you know, musical theatre is one of those things where you have to specialize, I guess, and
yeah,
train
it's,
in those
yeah,
areas because it's such a specific sort of art form. Does that make sense?
yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right. I mean, I see. I've seen plays where there's been people that have trained in musical theatre, but I haven't seen many musicals where people have trained in straight acting.
Of course.
So yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yes,
So,
yeah,
should we go on to the next question?
yeah. Let's do it, dude.
This one's, I think, probably a bit more personal because we're kind of going away from. I reckon we'll go back to career and acting in a minute because I like
Okay.
talking to you about it because you
I think we're quite
you
similar in the way we think about these things, aren't we?
definitely
I think
I
that's
think that
what I think that's why we're so close. I think we have a
we're both
very
kind of quietly very ambitious, but also kind of quite realistic at the same time.
well, it's important to, isn't it? It is important
Definitely.
to. You should dream big,
Yeah.
but you've also got to be realistic because otherwise you're off the rails.
Yeah.
Why do I keep dying?
I don't know, man.
Oh god.
It's
Right.
just
Okay. All right.
diseased. So how well, the question that I have written here is ask Patrick if he has any regrets, which is a very sort of in-depth question that can be taken lots of different ways.
Yeah.
I will take any answer, whether it's a big thing or a small thing. It can be, yeah, tiny or something pretty significant.
I think my biggest regret is not. Sorry, is my biggest regret has been investing time with people that don't believe in me. And what I mean by that is, you can spend a lot of time with people that, might not care about what's important to you.
Definitely.
And I think, I've spent a lot of time with probably the wrong people, and that is my biggest regret. As to, my biggest regret is not spending is my biggest regret is spending
Yeah.
time with just the wrong people, with people that don't truly understand me and don't
Mm.
and wouldn't might not care about what happens to me. Do you see what I mean?
And yeah, or kind of don't appreciate, understand what matters to you as
Yes, yeah, exactly.
well. I think we probably have the same one,
Yeah,
same regret.
yeah. It's
Definitely.
not, and
But at the
like,
same time, would you, if you could, would you kind of go back in time and actually like consciously change that or do anything to prevent that from happening?
I
Or are
don't,
you kind of
I don't know because I don't know where I would be. If I knew where I
exactly
was going to be, then obviously I would decide, but I don't, and
in some ways?
so I won't.
Yeah, so in some ways you would kind of you would almost be forgiven for maybe thinking that if you hadn't have had those experiences may still be to come, which is not
Yeah,
necessarily a good thing.
sure,
So
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, so I wouldn't change it because I'm kind of, I'm happy in the position that I'm in because I know I can work from it. I know that I'm at a position where I know I can make progress in life. Forget about career. I know that I'm able to make progress with people and with
yeah,
obviously with my career choice. But
yeah,
yeah, and so no, I wouldn't change. But I would be really fascinated to see sort
yeah.
of
To be able to see
what would
where
have
you might
happened if I
be.
if I did things different. If I spent time with better people, or if I
Yeah.
spent time with people that I trusted and that kind
No,
of thing. It'd just
definitely.
be really, really fascinating, actually. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. No, I think we have the same regret, but also the same opinion on. Yeah, no, I like that.
yeah.
Okay, this is an interesting one that I kind of I was looking through all sorts of different websites because I'm a cheat and I'm lazy about what things I might be able to ask you. But one of the one I saw a question and I thought I kind of like that, but I'm going to change it slightly. So you've kind of talked already about sort of actors and characterization and noticing people's mannerisms and kind of I mentioned your ability to mimic people's mannerisms very well.
Yeah.
Do you prefer playing roles that are similar or different to yourself? Would you
um,
prefer to kind of play, well, yeah, the question says it all. People who are different or similar to yourself, whether that's in personality or not necessarily, not really looks, but like personality or mannerisms or the way they think or their actions.
um, I find it easier to play someone that's completely different from me.
Do you? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
absolutely, absolutely. Which is
Yeah.
why my Galileo in We Will Rock You was the weirdest thing you've ever seen.
Right.
But it worked because
Sure.
by I don't know I find it's all a mental thing because
Yeah.
I kind of create a preset where I go, right, this is kind of what he kind of is, and so I'm gonna, his mannerisms are this, and it's
Yeah.
like I can kind of move into him, and that's not how I image it. I don't think that's really how an actor images it, but it's just a way of explaining it because it's easier to go, right, now I'm gonna be someone and just have it not related to yourself at all.
You almost
Um,
feel like you're acting more,
yeah,
and
well,
so
yeah,
it's
well, you're not
and so
acting.
you're almost
You're just feeling it. You're embracing it, and you kind of can.
yeah.
It's not about relating it to yourself. I think kind of by playing something completely different, you're starting from scratch. You don't have anything to base it
Right.
off. And I like
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I really like doing that because it just makes things more exciting and it makes more for you to create.
And
Um,
the process is more rewarding.
yeah, of course, of course. And so when you play a character that's similar to you, um, I don't know. I feel like you would. I feel like I would compare myself
Yeah.
to this other character that I've created, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't really know. I've played like Willy Wonka and
Yeah.
people like Baloo and stuff like that, which have been completely different to me, and I've really enjoyed doing that. It's been something that that it's perfect because it's very different to me,
Yes.
and I miss
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
Baloo dearly because
I miss watching you play
yeah,
Baloo
it was
immensely.
just it was just I don't know. It's that kind of
Yeah. It
completely embracing
was
someone, and it's not difficult to react to things on stage. It wasn't difficult. It was just kind
right.
of I've just got to sit in this person. I've got to sit in this
No, yeah.
person, and
I
it's
no,
not a
I agree with
problem
that.
because when I react to something, I wouldn't react to it as Patrick. I should go, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I do prefer playing characters that are more different to me. Um,
Yeah.
just because of the process, because of it just gives you more creativity, gives you more to work with, and it's fun. It's fun. The
Definitely.
most important thing, it's fun. I enjoy it, and so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, yeah,
I find myself also like when the acting course did Mad Forest,
mm.
which for anyone who doesn't know is uh, a play based on the events of the Romanian Revolution.
A really interesting play might I add.
Yes, my God, I loved it.
Yeah, it's
I really did
fantastic.
love
Yeah,
it. Set in 1989, um, and yeah, based around the revolution of the people overthrowing Ceausescu, the communist dictator of the time.
yeah,
Um, I found myself when I played, because I played two parts in it, right? I played
yeah.
Gabriel, who was uh, late teens, very rebellious, very passionate about the revolution, and he was very very refreshing to play because even though he was in a very similar sort of situation socially to me in terms of like in terms of like his age, how he interacted with his mates,
Mm.
how he interacted with his family, it was kind of almost like because of his energy, it felt like I was playing an improved version of myself.
Okay, okay, yeah. Well, see that's it's the same thing with me and Lucas Beinecke
Yeah,
because
of course.
Lucas is fairly similar to me in the way he's from the given circumstances, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, tall, sort of heartthrobber kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of that kind of character that sort of
Yeah.
he's presented as.
But
And
this is the thing, like that was
I didn't enjoy it
right.
nearly as much as though it was a better quality show. I didn't enjoy creating it as much as I did with Baloo
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
with Willy
No,
Wonka.
I mean, like,
It's just kind of it was so it's so nice to create something and then leave it, but then you kind of remember it.
yeah,
Whereas with Lucas,
definitely.
I don't really remember Lucas. I kind of just
Right.
remember myself putting on an American accent,
That's interesting.
and that is essentially what Lucas is. Like I there wasn't much I really could work with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A
I
bit
mean,
more
that's kind of
hyper
the
kind
it's,
of.
yeah, it's what I found with Mad Forest is this is like I really loved playing Gabriel because he was kind of like I almost like I said I almost saw him as like a better version of myself, like a
Okay,
more
yeah,
passionate. But the painter, Valentine Barbet, I think his name was, if I remember that correctly, in the second act, he was like pretty damn similar to me in that he was reasonably pathetic, was very emotional for most of it,
yeah,
but generally was just very, very similar to how I would have reacted in that circumstance. And I found myself getting annoyed at him because I was just so, I was like, oh, fuck's sake, why can't you just be more like, I found myself getting annoyed at how familiar he was
okay, yeah,
because I felt like I was just, yeah, in the same way that you talk about Lucas, I felt like I was just playing myself with a
mm.
Romanian accent.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, so hmm, I
that's cool though.
find that fascinating. But then equally, I can see why people would love playing characters similar to themselves because I'm sure
Oh
they like
yeah,
altering themselves slightly, and that's quite entertaining to some people.
yeah.
Surely, kind of playing themselves but with something else.
And
And
it's that kind of like pure form of entertainment as well.
yeah,
If you are yourself, then that
yeah,
is, you
absolutely.
know,
But then I guess it's just what people prefer, isn't it? And I just simply prefer playing someone completely different. It's just how it works.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So in which case then, um, what is your most desired role?
Jesus. Do you mean play, film, musical? What?
There are different ones. Okay, this is it. This is good. This is good.
Okay.
I'm gonna go musical first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Musical.
Yes. Musical.
Okay, so now typically
Yeah.
everyone who's listening to this, who knows me,
Yeah.
is going to be screaming out a particular name.
Yeah. I'm screaming it in my
Yeah. So,
head.
okay, but I'm gonna curveball it here.
Good.
I've got
I'm
two.
looking forward
I've
to
got
this. Yeah,
two
yeah,
here.
yeah.
First of all, is Elder McKinley from the Book of Mormon, and
Of course.
it's not for probably the reason that everyone thinks it is. I not only think the Book of Mormon is a fantastically hilarious, well written show, but it covers some really important topics in society. And when you break it down and sort of look at sort of the way it's structured and stuff, and with its very dark humor,
Yeah.
I just find it very fascinating. And Elder McKinley is one of the really sort of pivoting characters in the play,
Yeah.
because if you take it out of context, Elder McKinley is a homosexual guy who can't be himself because of his religion that he's been grown up sort of having faith in, and
Sure.
that's horribly sad. Like that's
Yeah,
so
it
bad.
is. Yeah, yeah,
The fact that he doesn't feel like he's able to be himself is terrible. And then obviously putting it in a musical obviously makes it brilliant because it's ironic and it's funny. And I think the best way you'd play that is by having an essence of both. And
sure.
in all of the recordings that may or may not be illegal, but in the ones that sort of, when I've seen it, I've seen Stevie Webb do it, who is, in my opinion, a phenomenal actor in all aspects. But
Yeah.
he takes that idea where actually it is really sad, and it is kind of a very sort of a difficult topic to discuss.
Yeah.
But he's still treating it with the comedic aspect that the show sort of embraces.
Yeah.
And so I think not only do I think it's a funny role, and I'd love to just make people laugh. That's just brilliant. But I think it would be just so fun to sort of play with that idea,
Yeah.
especially as it's something that's very relevant, you know. Now, my second one is Chris from Miss Saigon.
Yeah. Nice.
I think, yeah, again, a fantastic show, and I'm a sucker for that show.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so sad.
Yeah. It is. I adore Miss
It's
Saigon. I
just,
really do.
and it's just, again, I think it's just brilliant, and it's how it's, him finding this kind of like love in one of the darkest, places on Earth at the time, and it's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I just find sort of that kind of tragedy really,
Yeah.
really fun. And I love the idea of telling that story. I love the idea of kind of being the one that's. I love the idea of people, the people that are in the audience that are only going to see it once, remembering me as Chris.
Sure. Yeah.
That's really nice for me to feel. And not only is the story amazing, but it's just so exciting to tell it. And so
Yeah. It's one of
those are
those.
kind of the
I
two
think
for
that the
musicals.
an unfortunate stereotype for musicals is that it's all song and dance.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely.
I think that Miss Saigon is one of those that in terms of you personally as an actor, and I stress the word actor, uh, it's one of those ones that you can seriously get you into
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
terms of like thinking about sort of internal kind of conflicts and monologues and that kind of thing within Chris and within
Yes,
sort of his
absolutely,
actions and stuff.
absolutely,
It's a fucking belter of a show for actors. It
absolutely. Yeah,
really is, as well as just all of the songs being gold.
yeah. I mean, it's just. I mean, I just think it's fantastic. I think it's so I don't know. Whenever I've seen anything, whether it's the film or the show that I saw fairly recently, actually, when it came to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Southampton, and but yeah, it's yeah, I like it for the same reason I like Romeo and Juliet. It's horrible, but it's a great story, and it would be just brilliant to tell. And yeah, that's simply it. Um,
Definitely.
okay, in terms of film,
Yes, go on to films. I'm interested about this because I don't know
film or
this about you.
TV,
Just go. Oh
or
man,
should I just treat them the same? Because more or less, like,
you can do. Yeah, I don't
um,
know either. I don't know any of this, so this is new. It's not very often I find out something new
yeah.
about you.
Oh
So,
yeah, okay.
this is good.
Oh,
You haven't told me about this. I'm just gonna enjoy this. Yeah, go on then.
oh,
Film and
okay,
television.
okay.
Yeah,
Um, okay. So I really like the modern adaptation of Sherlock Holmes with Benedict Cumberbatch in it. I think he's again, like I've talked about him, like I talked about the acting thing previously. His
yes,
his he's got such a well thought out character, and it's so clear. It's so clear what
yeah.
his
It's
planning
genius.
was.
It really is
Um,
genius.
he went to a very, very good school and is just a really smart guy, and so he took it very, very seriously and did an amazing job of it. Um,
Yeah,
I really like the idea of playing parts of humans that are this. I don't want this to be taken in the wrong way, but kind of like you know of characters that kind of have a kind of I don't know, like a socially awkward element to them.
yeah.
People like Sherlock Holmes.
In a kind of sort of autistic kind of way.
Yeah, I've forgotten what his name is, but the Imitation Game guy. Again, Benedict
Yes.
Cumberbatch. But I don't know. I just find it very. I would just. I really want to try it. I've never quite had the opportunity to do it,
That'd be
and
really interesting. Yeah.
I would really want to. I would really want to. I think, honestly, I think I think I was, I'd work very, very hard at making it the best I could, and so like Christopher from Curious Instant,
Right.
and people like that. I just
Alan Turing.
Alan Turing, that's the one. That's the one.
Alan
Alan Turing.
Turing. Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I haven't, I don't watch that much TV or film, to be honest. But
No, I don't.
just sort of characters like that, like that. But yeah,
Yeah, that's not. Yeah,
definitely Sherlock Holmes. Definitely Sherlock Holmes.
my favorite book.
Mate, it's a
Books.
banger. It's a banger of a character.
Plural. It
Books,
is.
TV, film.
Incredible. One of the kind of deepest, kind of one of the characters that's the most well known, but probably the least understood.
In fact, I've got one more to add to this,
Yeah,
and this
far
is
away,
play.
far away. Ooh,
One of the characters that I've always wanted to play, like in a straight play,
yeah.
is Eric from an Inspector Calls.
Nice.
Yes.
That's really interesting.
Inspector Calls is probably one of my favorite plays, and
Yeah, same here.
And it was like the only book at GCSE which I genuinely enjoyed. It's a brilliant BBC adaptation of it as well. After I read it, I remember.
Yes,
Looking at
1980, 1982, maybe, I believe.
I don't know.
80 Summit.
But it's brilliant, and I really like Eric.
Yeah, I really like Eric. Yeah,
especially as him kind of being the youngest in the family. I like kind of seeing
it's
that
interesting.
in a
If
in,
I
in
was
that
if
scenario.
I was in an Inspector Calls, I would play. I would want to play Gerald.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah.
I would want to play Gerald. Yeah.
But yeah, I find that a brilliant play.
That's really interesting. I think that it's underrated in the sense that a lot of people of our generation, and certainly of our sort of year above us, year below, because of it being one of the GCSE texts,
Yeah,
have kind of read it in an English classroom, and it's like the most dull thing ever. But as an actual play, I think it's brilliant. I do think it's really brilliant.
because it was near us quite recently.
Was it?
Yeah, sort of year 11 time actually, November
Oh wow.
2016, I think. 2016. Yeah.
2016.
Me and Tom
now.
went to go see it.
That's really, really cool.
It was really, really good. And
I wish I'd had the chance to do that. Actually.
Funnily enough, Owen was in it.
Oh really?
He was one of the kids, yeah, because they needed some, and so he was in it apparently for the run. But yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. No, I really like that. Yeah. Okay.
Big gains.
We're on to the final question now.
Oh, okay.
So the question that you asked me was, the last two that you asked me were, how would I like to be remembered?
Yeah.
What would I like my legacy to be? And also, what if I could choose my final words, what they would be?
Okay.
Following the same sort of theme.
Okay.
My final question, which you can answer either as, short or long, or however you would like to leave this, because this is final question. If you could teach everyone in the world one thing, one concept, one philosophy, what would it be? You have the opportunity to teach everyone on planet Earth one thing, and for them to take that on board and to understand it and to apply it to their lives. What would it be?
It would. It would be for them to learn
Right.
So it would be for them to understand that regardless their starting point and regardless their circumstances or position or current status, that they can make something of themselves.
Right.
And this probably isn't something that I fully believe yet.
No, yeah,
but
no.
I want myself to learn that.
I think that if everyone knew that, it would be a very, very powerful thing.
And whether, yeah, it'd just be for like just people to know that regardless of where they are, that things can change and things will if you dedicate it what it deserves, if you give it what it deserves.
Yeah, whether
Um,
that's kind of like family or financially or
yeah,
socially.
just everything.
Yeah,
Um, I like yeah I would yeah I'd really like to teach that. That would just
sure.
because it's something that I would like to be taught, I think.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
like that.
and yeah, I don't know whether that kind of twists the question slightly, but
No, I don't know.
because it's not
I think
something I
that's good.
necessarily have currently, but it's
No,
something
but it's something that yeah,
that I think I will learn through time as kind of steps progress. Because the trouble is now is that we're still at home. You know, we're still at home.
yeah, 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 yeah,
It's not as productive as I want to be. Um,
yeah.
just yeah. I'm looking for. I think I'll learn it as soon as I I'm in a position where I make myself.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Where you have
that's
that kind of discipline and independence to kind of be you and do
yeah.
your own thing. And yeah, okay.
I'm sorry to y'all who think that doesn't really make sense, but
No, it does. It makes
okay,
perfect sense.
okay, good.
And I think that it's very interesting and reflective of how you think that you've chosen something which you also wish that a trait that you wish that you possessed.
Yes, yeah,
I
yeah.
like that. I like that a lot.
Okay,
And yeah, so that that concludes the interview.
yeah. Good
That
chats,
concludes
huh?
the episode. Oh, I knew you were going to try and wedge it in sideways somehow. Amazing. So yeah,
But
thank you. They were
that's
really, really great answers.
they were really great
That was
questions. This has been very
thanks. Yeah, no, this has been good. I've really, really enjoyed this as a sort of two-part.
yeah, it's been great actually, hasn't it?
Um, yeah, I've really, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Definitely.
So thank you. Thank you very, very much for listening, everybody.
Of course,
Um,
yes,
if you've got this far.
definitely.
Um, and we shall see you next time.
We shall see you next time. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it if you made it to the end and enjoyed
Yeah,
listening about me and Poco life.
about you. Yeah. So feel free to chuck us some feedback either on
Definitely.
our Instagrams, which are always displayed either both in the description and hopefully on the video.
Or just yeet us a Snapchat if you have us on
Yeah,
Snapchat.
if you
So
know us, or obviously the comments section down below is open for.
shout out to Jess Barnard, don't worry.
Jesus
He's
Christ.
commented on like
Every single
all of our
video,
ones.
yeah.
Credit where it's
So
due.
yeah, feel free to chuck us some feedback because we really appreciate that and we really love to know
Absolutely.
what you guys think of all this because as much as we aren't necessarily making this specifically for an audience, it's still really interesting to hear what people think and also to kind of start discussions on the kind of things that we talk about.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
so feel free to get in touch and yeah, we'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed.
We'll see you soon. Good chat.
Good chats.